7 News at 5. And right now we are tracking breaking news. The floodwaters wreaking havoc on Colorado. Thousands affected. New pictures from places like Glen Haven in Boulder County alone. More than 200 people are still unaccounted for. A new video showing severe weather moving through the area. This is near Chambers and Hamden as drivers tried to make it through a downpour. The water rushing down the road. Look at this, taking over the entire right lane of traffic there. And this is just within the last hour. The cities of Aurora and Parker asking everyone to get off and stay off the roadways right now. It's dangerous. More rain is headed for those areas already hit hard by flooding. We are on 24/7 weather alert. Please understand as well, folks, that we're interrupting the end of the Oregon-Tennessee game, not only because it's a blowout, but because lives are at stake right now across our state, and they are at risk. Meteorologist Matt Makins is tracking this latest round of flooding rain in the 24/7 Weather Center.
This is what it looks like. Teresa Johnstone sent in the video from Aurora. Also in Parker, many of us seeing the very heavy rainfall. It has nowhere to go. Our ground is saturated, so it just fills up and causes the flooding. Jessica Devereaux in Parker caught all the floodwaters right down her street here. This is all flowing into the Cherry Creek, but other creeks and rivers, as we know, are flooded beyond their banks, and they continue to rise tonight. Tonight's storms, fairly isolated compared to what we'll have tomorrow. Tomorrow looks like a bad day. Heavy rainfall headed back tomorrow morning through the midday. Douglas County from Castle Rock all the way out towards Twin Cedars and Deckers, flooding rainfall. Up to 6 inches of rain has fallen here. This storm is nearly stationary. A couple of creeks. We have the Plum Creek, which comes through Castle Rock, and also from right along the Perry Park Road. Both can join along Highway 85 near Sedalia. Moving into Highlands Ranch, expect higher floodwaters along that creek. It'll move into the Platte, could raise the level of the Platte as it goes along Santa Fe Avenue. Out in Aurora, most of this water will head towards Commerce City. We already know that the retention areas in Commerce City have struggled the last couple of days with heavy rainfall. All this rain currently falling over DIA, which is heaviest in these areas of northern Aurora. Here's Pena Boulevard as it snakes down and joins in with I-70. So we're looking at 40th Court. Here's 46th Avenue. Here's where 225 and I-70 meet. These areas have the heaviest rainfall. An inch or two will fall per half hour to 45 minutes. Elsewhere to the north in northern Weld County, this thunderstorm is also stationary. Flash flood warnings on it. Again, that water will flow towards Greeley along the Big Thompson, the Pooter, and they'll all conjoin here near the Platte, and that will carry towards Fort Morgan and Sterling. Other heavy thunderstorms are out here over the eastern plains. This is the different mode of the radar, switched from what it's seeing now to what it's measured rainfall-wise over the last 2 hours. Down into Douglas County, this bullseye south near Greenland is 6 inches. Look at this bullseye. If you know Castle Rock at all, Highway 85 runs into town, meets in with I-25. Right here is the Outlet Mall. King Soopers is over here, and this is the Meadows. Look how much rain has fallen in here. This is a very tiny valley. You have Happy Canyon and Castle Pines up here. All that water is going to flow down into the Plum Creek heading towards Sedalia. Much of the Meadows has had 5 to 6 inches of rainfall. Also, sections of Happy Canyon has had that much. This water is now filling in some basements in the Meadows area. Up into Parker along Crowfoot Valley Road, a lot of rain fell there. Normally those creek beds are dry, but throughout Parker, many of these neighborhoods like Stonegate, Baldwin Park, Clark Farms, 3 inches on average throughout most of Parker. The Pinery barely missed out on the rain. You get closer to Foxfield. These areas up here near Foxfield along E470 and Arapahoe Road, Parker Road, for example, have all had similar amounts, 2 to 3 inches in many areas. As I kind of manipulate the map around, all these oranges and yellows here, that is all equivalent of 2 to 3 inches until you get into North Aurora. As I pan the map down to the south, here is Colfax and 225. These red areas close to Havana, which was so badly flooded the last 2 days ago, that's another 6-inch bullseye there. Teresa, this storm is not yet winding down, and we have more rain on the way tomorrow. Futurecast is straight ahead.
All right, thank you, Matt. And right now, new information on Colorado flooding. The flooding moving downstream through northeastern Colorado. You heard Matt mentioning this, inundating fields out in that area with muddy water. At least 5 people now believed to have been killed by the flooding, hundreds more still unaccounted for, and thousands of homes damaged or destroyed. Roads closed, many of them wiped out by the powerful, fast-moving floodwaters. Air Tracker 7 flying over some of the hardest hit areas right now. You're looking at Aurora. See that car floating basically in the floodwaters in Aurora right now. Live pictures, you can see it just covering the roadway. You can't even see where the road ends and the side of the road begins. You can just see how quickly all of this massive amount of rain fell. As Matt just showed us, several inches, from up to 6 inches in one area in about probably less than an hour's time. It came down hard and fast. So you can see the flooding already in Aurora from Air Tracker 7 right now, in an area already extremely well saturated from the rains that we've had in the last week or so. And as we pull out of that picture on Air Tracker, look how widespread that flooding is in Aurora right now. These are live pictures that you're looking at. So once again today, another round of rain and a fresh round of flooding for folks who have already been seeing too much of this in recent days. And we have new video as well. Let's take a look at what it's like in Evergreen. Rain falling in that area as well just this afternoon. Water moving steadily along the roadways, running high and fast. This video sent in from a viewer this morning. And right now, the northeastern Colorado town of Goodrich is also underwater. And that's where 7 News reporter Russell Haythorne is live for us. Russell, this water doing a lot of damage as it's moving downstream.
Yeah, Teresa, this is the situation right now in eastern Colorado. These are the floodwaters that hit along the Front Range 2 and 3 days ago, and now they are hitting here in Morgan County, and the effects have been devastating. This is actually Highway 144 running into the small town of Goodrich, Colorado, which is just on the other side of this washout here. You can see the road is buckling under the weight of this water just beyond that guideline that's bobbing around in the water right there. That's a guideline for the electrical wire. So obviously they're having electrical issues here. This entire town under evacuation, under an evacuation order. This is a small town, less than 100 people. But we are told by residents here that the entire town, all of the residences, all of the businesses are underwater. And this is the situation up and down the South Platte here in eastern Colorado. Parts of Weldona are underwater. Parts of Fort Morgan are underwater. Parts of Orchard are underwater. And the effects from these floodwaters are just devastating. We're told that the surge from the floodwaters on the South Platte hit this location at about 10 o'clock this morning. So that gives you some perspective. The flood actually hit along the foothills on Thursday, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and then Greeley, Colorado, Evans, Colorado yesterday, and now finally making its way here to the eastern plains. Devastating effects from these floodwaters that continue to ravage Colorado. For now, we're live in Morgan County. I'm Russell Haythorne. Teresa, back to you.
Russell, stay safe out there. New information also for you out of Evans. The South Platte River overflowing into the southeast side of Evans. So far, it's flooded 2 mobile home parks, including 7 blocks of the town. Some 200 homes are uninhabitable, and it's believed that 1,000 people in Evans are impacted by flooding. Weld County, one of the harder hit areas, as we've been telling you, struggling to keep up with the water that continues to come into town. Almost all of the water in the foothills now rushing into the Platte River. The St. Vrain, the Poudre, and the Big Thompson all do eventually flow right into the South Platte in Weld County. And residents who live in that area have also seen this kind of flooding before. That's where our Lance Hernandez is live. Lance, bring us up to date from there.
Well, Teresa, residents who live along the South Platte River and who have seen floods before are stunned by the magnitude of this one. Look at the damage. These are mobile homes, twisted metal, some of them lying on their side. Over here a little further down is a power line leaning perilously over a road that's been washed out. This is what's left of Brantner Road, and water everywhere as far as the eye can see. These floodwaters have forced countless people from their homes.
I got my wife, my grandson out.
Ramon Salazar says the water rose so fast he had no time to get anything else. Not that he didn't try.
The water knocked me down over there by that sign and carried me into the woods.
Today, family members stood on the new banks of the South Platte and looked toward the family's home in the distance, fretting about how much water is inside. The Salazars say they're mainly worried about their animals.
I keep asking if anybody's seen my dad's horses, and we think we saw one of the dogs on the high ground by their home with binoculars this morning. but we're not sure if any of the animals have survived.
Now, Salazar, a retired landscaper who's lived here for 28 years, is waiting for the water to recede and wondering what he'll find when it does.
My truck is gone, my tractor is gone. I had 2 freezers full of meat that I got ready for the winter. About $800 worth is gone.
Last week, he chopped 8 cords of wood for his fireplace. It all floated downstream. When I asked how he was doing, he choked up.
I'm here.
The family is trying very hard to stay positive.
We'll stick together. We'll help them out. They've been through a flood before. They got us kids and family. We just keep saying a party in 2 weeks for the cleanup.
Now, Mr. Salazar told me this is the 3rd flood he has experienced here in the Evans area. He said when the last flood happened and it breached the levee, it took about 4 hours for the floodwaters to reach his home. He said this flood only took about 30 minutes once that breach occurred. Live in Evans, Lance Hernandez, 7 News.
It's just heartbreaking, Lance. New information this afternoon about conditions in Larimer County as well. Video from the Big Thompson Canyon area yesterday for you. 7 helicopters being used to evacuate people today from those flood-ravaged areas. But officials say it could take 7 days to get all 1,200 people out of Pinewood Springs alone. People in many areas choosing to stay with their homes. 7,000 meals ready to eat being dropped to those folks, and others still stranded in the area. At least one woman is believed to be dead, swept away in the flood.
Due to the devastation in the Thompson Canyon primarily, we do anticipate that potentially there will be other loss of life.
About 100 people considered unaccounted for in mostly Thompson Canyon, but officials say many are climbing to the top of nearby mountains to get cell service so that they can call their loved ones. And we're getting our first look at the faces of the flood victims. Our partners at the Denver Post posting this picture of 19-year-old Wesley Quinlan and Wyanna Nelson. The couple on their way back from a birthday party Thursday morning when the storm hit. The massive amounts of rain sending a wall of water, rocks, and mud straight at the couple's car on Linden Drive. They were swept away, their bodies found yesterday. Some of their friends managed to escape. Right now, rain hitting metro roadways again. This as some highways just started to reopen, including I-25 to the Wyoming border. Joining us again by phone from CDOT, Amy Ford. And Amy, talk about current closures right now. Is anything closing up again just because of this new round of weather?
Not yet quite now, but what we are having, as you well know, there are some closures as things move east. So, State Highway 144 between US 34, for instance, and County Road 13, as we're going into Greeley, Wiggins, neighborhoods and communities like that. So those have been some of the closures that we've had more recently. But we're going to be keeping our eyes. Obviously, things were heavy hit down south, so we're still keeping our eyes on all of the roadway conditions as we speak.
Yeah, and I-25, though, still reopened at this point. From I-25 to Wyoming?
It is, yes. It is open, and depending on how the rainstorms go, we have crews out there. We're monitoring the conditions as we go through the night, and should we need to shut things down again, certainly will. But we're certainly hopeful at this point we'll be able to keep everything open.
All right, Amy, thank you so much for continuing to just keep us up to date on these major roadways because it is so critical right now. Thank you so much for joining us live from CDOT. Aurora Mall also seeing some flooding as we speak. So Aurora Mall, we're hearing reports of flooding there right now. You're looking at Air Tracker 7 live pictures right now. We're looking in these areas where the latest flooding has been seen. This is Delaney Farm right now. Parker and Aurora hit especially hard with this latest cell that just moved through. You can see the flooding there just right under that pedestrian bridge. It is absolutely another terrible situation now. All this water just rushing through in the last hour. This is new areas that we're seeing where the water is continuing to rise, take over those trees as well. This is a system that Matt has been watching and breaking into programming to show you. And now you're seeing some of the evidence of where all that water is going as folks can see it literally from the roadways there. Air Tracker, again, showing us some live pictures of the rain and flooding parts of Aurora and Parker just late today. And as it pans over there, again, we're looking at Aurora Mall, I believe, now, and we are hearing that there is flooding at the Aurora Mall. I think, folks, and I know that Aurora Police and Parker Police have even retweeted me this evening and this afternoon when I say stay home. They do not want you out on the roadways right now. Live pictures of Aurora Mall, again, where they are seeing flooding, and you saw all of that standing water so nearby that area as well. So stay home, stay safe, stay dry, and especially in the areas of these storms and flooding, stay off the roadways. Our coverage continues here on 7 News at 5 right after this.
What does 50% mean?
I don't know. Why?
Empire Today just announced their 50-50-50 sale. 50% off carpet, 50% off installation, and 50%